We are the Fashion Daddies.
Welcome to the Fashion Daddies podcast, where we talk about all things
Fashion
figure skating
and Project Runway.
Yes, episode 4, Catwalk on the Wild Side. I knew you were going to do that.
Daddy David, why am I dressed like this?
Well, this was a challenge for Humane World for Animals.
Correct.
And what were they to design?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I wrote it all down, by the way. So they were to create a runway-worthy look, or looks, using cruelty-free fabrics.
Okay.
Yes, cruelty-free fabrics, because of course it's the Humane World Society, which is a global nonprofit organization. And we need to make this quick because I am hot in my cruelty-free faux fur and acrylic faux wool sweater. It's 97 degrees here in Los Angeles. So if we can make this quick.
Okay, so in case you're listening and not watching, Nick is wearing a sweater in Los Angeles in the middle of summer in 96 degree weather.
Correct.
And you have a fur collar. Faux fur. Oh, yes.
Cruelty-free fur.
Acrylic sweater.
Cruelty-free acrylic sweater.
And what animal would you say you're representing today?
The lion.
Okay.
Ish.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That.
Or like maybe a fox?
Not really a lion, actually. Sorry to say.
What do you think I'm representing?
There's a wolfish.
A wolfish
aspect.
I like that.
To the fur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go with that.
Okay. I like that.
Okay.
I asked to make this quick, and now you're just lengthening it.
Okay.
And I am she is sweating. She is sweating. So, yes. So that was the challenge.
Uh-huh.
And there was a head-to-head.
Yes.
Right?
But before that, since we were talking about cruelty-free, tell the children what cruelty-free fabric is.
I'm glad you asked again, because I wrote that down too, because I thought people might be wondering.
Yes.
So what does cruelty-free fabrics mean? This means textiles made without harming or using animals, including plant-based materials, such as cottons, linens, hemp, bamboo, tencel, polyester, nylon, like my sweater, faux leather and faux fur, like my sweater, modal, rayon is included, poplin, corduroy, denim, khaki, to name a few.
Okay, so maybe what's even easier is to say what they couldn't use, which
Right.
was real fur,
real leather,
wool,
right,
silk, because it's all animal free. So
no, that's not animal free.
well,
What
right,
they could use.
but
What they couldn't
people
use.
might say silk. Well, why silk?
Right.
You know, the silkworm, I guess. Okay, so but you know, we went with their list of what was cruelty-free.
We did. So now let's do this, because I think that the fans like to hear some of the stuff that they don't see on the episode, and that's what you come here for.
That's what you're here for.
For in the Fashion Daddies podcast, we're going to give you some behind the scenes, BTS, and insider dish on things that you may not have seen in the show. You know, a lot of people talk about, they don't talk about the fabrics, and this doesn't make the edit, or like what went on with the designs. And we're here. We're here for you.
We're here for you.
We're listening.
Okay, so the biggest behind the scenes of this episode
do tell
would be the creation of a mini fabric store on stage in their workroom
using cruelty-free fabrics.
Yes.
So who did that? Who got all those fabrics? Who chose all those bolts of fabrics? Who went to Mood and spent half a day looking for cruelty-free fabrics that were also inspired by the animals that were chosen? I mean, who did that?
Who could do that? The Fashion Daddies, of course. Yes. So
add that to our 86 jobs, right?
So that's what we were in charge with. We were tasked with. And yes, I know everybody wants to see them go to mood.
Right.
We get it. So don't, well, you can leave a comment and say all that to us, but understand that we know. And that's just the way it happened this episode.
Yeah.
Timing, production, they needed to have the fabric there on set.
And start quick.
But
that, not going to mood, that don't yell at us.
Yeah. Yes. So what we did was we created a little mini fabric store, and you didn't really get to see it on camera.
Yeah.
But we gave each designer, which was broken down into 2 designers per animal.
Right.
We gave them their own little section.
Yeah.
So they could not cross-pollinate sections.
They had to stay there in different types of fabrics.
Yes. And it all had to be equal. So basically about 9 bolts per 8 or 9. I can't remember exactly, but somewhere around there.
Right.
And they were divided up, like we said, per animal.
All cruelty-free.
Yes.
We had to check that off. We talked to all, the mood sales representatives, and we're like, show us to there. And of course, we knew some. We knew, okay, we can go to polyester. Avoid the wool. Avoid the leather section.
Yes.
We knew what to avoid, but then we had to do, so many different things, categories. Before, we literally, I think, we just started blocking off corners of mood.
Yeah.
And this is while the store is open. The shop is open and everybody's shopping and it's packed. If you've never been to Mood New York, it's packed. But, look out for Daddy Nick and Daddy David, because we'd be running around pulling bolts and putting them in the corner and quietly going, is this macaw? Is this lion? So nobody wonders or asks, like, what y'all are doing?
Yeah, it was a little more difficult than I anticipated. Really, the finding of the fabrics that were cruelty-free.
Right.
Because you wanted a variety.
Yeah.
You wanted to represent the animal.
Right.
You wanted, to an extent, ease of use, because you had to think about, you think about that when you're a designer on the show, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to choose those fabrics that you're like, oh, this is going to be really tough to work with.
And also a variety, again, because we're both designers and because I was on the show, I was thinking, okay, so if I want to make a jacket, I need a suiting weight fabric in there. Or if I want to make a Grecian goddess type of dress, I need something jersey, something thin. And so we wanted to make sure that each mini store, had different types of weights. They almost all had some sort of faux fur. Even we looked at, for the horse, we looked at something that kind of looked like, corduroy, that gave you the feeling of like horse skin.
Yeah.
So we looked at different types of things. So it wasn't just, here's some faux leather and some faux fur, call it a day.
Yeah. In the industry, they call those bottom weight fabrics and top weight fabrics.
Right.
So lots of times, as you know, a pant is heavier weight and you might have a cotton top or something like that. So you need those varieties in there.
Yeah.
You can't just give them all one thing. And then on top of that, we also wanted to keep in mind the designers and the way they design. So we didn't know which designer had which animal, because they didn't do that until, of course, the fabrics were already chosen. So we couldn't say, we know that Jude is going to get the Arctic wolf.
No.
We didn't know.
No, we didn't know.
We just had to choose fabrics and put in every category a variety. Oh, this would be good for streetwear.
Right.
Oh, this would be good for an evening wear designer. Oh, this would be good for sportswear. So we tried to put in there, and then
there's more.
There's even more.
And then there's more.
And then there's even more, because they still had a budget. So when they went to Fashion Daddies fabric store, they still had to be concerned about price point and pull a certain, they couldn't just pull.
I want this. I'm taking this. How about if I take it all?
Yeah.
No.
And sorry, I can't remember the budget, but it was probably somewhere around $500 per designer, which is a decent amount.
Yeah, it's a decent amount.
They had plenty of fabric.
Yeah, they did.
In fact, in many cases, they pulled way more than they needed and a variety of what they needed.
Yeah. In fact, I remember after the challenge was done, episode was done, we had a lot of returns.
Yes.
We had a lot of bolts being returned that just weren't used back to Mood.
Yeah. And so, of course, Mood was nice enough to take all the bolts that Nick and I pulled. Mm-hmm. They had to roll them all out on their counting machine to know how many yards they were giving us, roll them all back on the bolts, and then we had production, and then they wrapped them all.
Then they wrapped them, then they put them in the freight elevator. We're going through all the steps, right?
Well, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And then the PAs were waiting downstairs, busy Manhattan garment district, kind of day, and waiting to put in their how many bolts, like 40 something bolts of fabric into a van. So thank you, Mood.
Yes, thank you, Mood.
Very, very grateful.
We really couldn't have done it without that.
We couldn't have done it.
So, we tried to do our best. Listen, it's a stressful situation. They weren't all 100% pleased.
No, as you can guess, this is all you got. And I know, but, yes, in an ideal world, they can go to Mood and they can pick what they want. But even then, because of the short time that they get, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, whatever it is to shop, they don't have enough time to buy what they really want to buy, and also money-wise. So, yes, they weren't all exactly happy, but, I was just sitting there quietly like,
This is what you got. And that's what Project Runway is about.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it takes the stress away, I would think. I'd be like, okay, I have 9 bolts. This is what I have to work with. I'm going to make something from this. Okay, so now what you are really here for is our critique about the looks. And we're going to go through each animal and just talk a little bit about each design.
Okay.
And we're going to start with the macaw.
Oh, Joseph.
Yes.
All right.
And that was one which you would think would be very easy because it had so many colors.
Yeah.
And it was so bright and cheerful that you would say, oh, that's great. Well, colors can be tricky.
Yeah.
And mixing colors can be difficult.
Well, I mean, this is why designers who do this, like Yves Saint Laurent, Carolina Herrera, like they have such a mastery of color because they can easily go wackadoodle and can go a question of taste, a lack of taste. Yeah. It can look a little tacky, because some, and I love me some bubblegum pink. Yes, I love me some fuchsia, but again, you have to be careful. Yeah. And that's where again, designers such as Yves Saint Laurent, they were such masters with color.
And I think the fabric Joseph chose was beautiful. Yeah. And it was a brocade and smart to use just the one fabric.
Right.
Which had a great impact.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a fantastic dress.
Fantastic.
Again, he's doing the same thing. I don't get that in this dress.
No.
Yes, I get the volume. Of course. Right. That's his thing. He's going to carry volume along.
Right.
From challenge to challenge. That is what he does.
But I think he does it appropriately.
Yes, and in this case, he added volume, but he kept the silhouette straight, clean, a beautiful wrap across her bodice, and a beautiful slit. It was asymmetric if you look at the skirt of the dress,
the look of it,
which is really cool.
Charity is teeny tiny. This look, I think, was so perfect. It was spot on. It thought of not overwhelming her, but then really still giving her a presence, and make an impact with, creating that 3/4 shot with those sleeves, and they were stiffened with horsehair around. So that's what made them stand out. And then, of course, showing the leg. So you're not overwhelming her with all this. So the fabric itself, it's already overwhelming and impacting. But then he's like showing the leg, and then the scoop neck, the V-neck. I just thought that it was just very, very thoughtful.
My one tiny critique is probably the horsehair. I would have liked to have seen what it would have looked like without the horsehair and let it flow, because I think the sleeves were big enough on their own.
Right.
I don't know that they needed to be that exaggerated.
Right.
And again, that might have helped him not get that same critique.
Yeah.
But overall, that's a tiny critique, because I think this was definitely one of the best looks of the night.
And she was happy, and she loved it.
Okay, so then to Brian.
Oh.
And he had that fuchsia, mermaid silhouette, halter dress.
Right.
Very typical, I would say. Nothing super special.
No.
And then he tried to bump it up.
Because I think Christian said this isn't enough.
No.
Like, this is just another dress anybody can find. I think he was going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But yeah. And the seams looked like a struggle.
Well,
I mean, you know me, I'm very particular.
Yeah.
And I was like, them princess seams are not cute.
I think overall, to me, this is one of Brian's issues, is the execution. This was fine. It was just the execution in evening wear is so difficult to execute.
Right.
And this, he just didn't do it. So, yeah, it just was not one of the best.
You think the addition of the ruffled airplane pillow was not a good addition?
No, it doesn't look fully thought out.
No.
The design.
Right.
It looks like he was trying to come up with something.
Yeah.
And
which is what happened. He's like, Christian said, you need something else. And so then he put something else. And then it ended up looking like this is an afterthought. Like, I'm just going to put this here. But it really doesn't it didn't look right for the dress.
All right. The next one is the shark, right?
Ooh, yes, the great white shark.
Great white shark.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a really fun one.
Yeah.
And both designers, Naeem and Jeffrey, were both very successful. And I think that Naeem probably had one of the best pieces of the night.
Yes.
I don't know if the full look was the strongest, but that coat was, to me, possibly enough to make him the winner, I was thinking, as we were going into it. It was just so interesting. I love the exaggerated shape. The drop waist made it super cool.
Super cool, modern. Very Hader Eckerman.
Yes. And then, of course, the slashes with the red interior right at the pocket was so cool. Now, the dress underneath was a really interesting fabric. When we found it, we thought, oh, this is so shark. This is so oceanic.
Remind me.
Okay, it was like
this is what the viewers don't see.
Yes, it was organza or chiffon, and it was strips and strips and strips, and it had a floaty quality, and it was really interesting. It was a silvery white color.
Okay.
And you could have done so many things with it.
Yeah.
I understand his idea to just make a column dress because he wanted to really show off that jacket.
And he spent so much time on that coat.
And he spent so much time on the coat.
And you could see it because it looked polished.
Yes.
It didn't look like Happy Hands at Home. It looked polished. And again, like you said, the slashes with the red, with the peekaboo red.
Yeah.
Like the shark, the blood.
Yeah. Really cool. And the thing about the dress is that since it was such a special fabric, it almost needed to be a highlight. And it was sort of a throwaway.
Yeah.
So in many ways, you were a little confused by what it was.
Right.
And maybe if he had just used something that was simple, didn't have a lot of texture or detail, it might have been more successful. But I totally get the idea.
Yeah.
Me knowing what the fabric was,
right,
it made sense, but I understand how on air it might not have made as much sense.
I think if he had, preferably for me, if he had more time, I personally would have done it in that silver. I would have done like a long dress with that gunmetal silver fabric that he used on the coat. So it looked like an outfit, like an ensemble. And it's still it doesn't get lost. But that to me, it's like you looking back,
Yes.
like that's what I would have done.
Absolutely. That makes that's a really good point.
But it was a standout.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. So then there's Jeffrey, who also made a great look. It was a halter jacket top situation with a pencil skirt, and his tailoring, again, his skill is extraordinary. This fabric,
Liquid organza, and it's all poly. I don't know what poly rayon something or other.
yes,
Not silk, but it's inspired by Armani Privé, and it is struggle. I would say the B word. That's what I was about to say. To sew.
yeah,
But only Jeffrey can make it look so professional and so expensive. And he, you know, I always say this about some designers and people, a lot of sewers. You have to have that hand.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey has the hand.
Yeah, it's to take that fabric and tailor it is incredibly difficult. Now, here's my one issue with the look.
Oh, let's see if it's the same one I have.
It's the slit in the skirt.
Yes, me too. High five. Thank you.
He made a little baby slit in the back when it should have gone all the way up.
Right until the point where your booty ends.
Yes.
Like, especially when the skirt is so pegged and so tiny. And VJ, bless her heart, she is like wishy, washy.
Okay, so let me tell everybody, because this is something that's a little behind the scenes and something that we wish we saw more of.
Do we want to put a little ticker tacker? Like every time we give some stuff that you don't see on the show, and you only get here on the Fashion Daddies.
And that is to see them walk more on the runway. So everybody at home might not have even known how small that slit was, because on air, I paid special attention to this.
Yeah.
They did not show her walking on the runway. They basically only showed her at the end of the runway and maybe turn around.
Got it.
So
they didn't show the tick.
no, and this is a thing where I think that could have influenced the judge's decision, because you are conscious of this.
Yes.
And you see that there's something not right.
No.
And Nick and I have struggled with this, and it's not easy to learn that when you are making a garment, the way it reacts in the workroom, on a dress form, even on a fit model, or in this case, these models standing in the workroom, is completely different than walking down a 30-foot runway.
Right.
The way it moves on the runway as compared to how it is when you're constructing the garment are two separate things.
Right.
It's a very difficult thing to learn. And I understand how many of these designers struggle with that. But this is a show that's really about a fashion show. So you really have to be conscious about how it's going to walk down that runway. And in this situation, that was the issue, but it was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. Yeah, the slit just needed to be higher.
Yeah.
But it was a chic suit. It was like she is coming to slay. And oh wait, that's kind of the shark.
Yeah.
And you saw the shark fin in the collar and the peplum. So all those little things were there.
Yeah.
But yes, I kind of agree. Naeem's little hidden blood slashes were a little more elevated.
Yes. Okay, next we have Bobby and Elizabeth. Yes, and this is the Mustang. And here is, again, a situation where it really revealed the outfit on the runway the way it walked down the runway.
Right.
Neither of these were great.
No.
But when you saw Bobby's on the runway, the skirt had a wonderful movement. Ekin-Su works it.
I was gonna. You better give Miss Ekin-Su some props.
Yeah.
Because if she would have had another model, it was Ekin-Su. Because I know that even Ekin-Su might not have been pleased
Yeah.
about the result, but she sold it. And that is the sign of a great model.
Yeah.
Because she sold it, she spinned it, she knew that all those layers of ruffle, that they were giving a look. She
Yeah.
owned it.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, if I'm going to give you Gypsy Pirates of Penzance, I'm going to go on that runway stage and give it to you.
Yeah.
You know?
So she did great.
Yeah.
The top was probably the weakest part. She painted a horse on there, which they didn't really discuss or show.
You see a little part of it, but again, here you go. Let's put the ticker. This is what, like the fourth inside dish, the fifth inside dish here on the Fashion Daddies. Bobby, yes, she did some printing, some painting.
Yeah.
She put a horse. You could only see part of it.
Yes, we both felt that it looked very 2006.
Yeah, early odds.
This is something you would have seen right during Nick's time on Project Runway. This is
something I would have designed or somebody else would have designed in 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
In season 2 of Project Runway. But guess what, Daddy David?
It's back. It's back. And we know it's back. And so it's really not that outside of what's happening in fashion.
No.
But here it didn't really work. It was fine. The skirt was fine.
Yeah.
It got her through. And obviously we knew she was one that was right on the edge of going home. So
You mean Bobby.
Yeah. So how this was something that got her to the next round is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So then there's Elizabeth. Yeah.
Oof.
And I think I'm struggling
to even say the words.
Well,
It's okay. It's vegan leather. It's just a lot of leather.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make any sense. And once again, I know Elizabeth, this is how she works. She just plops on fabric and hopes, wishes, and prays that it turns into something.
Yeah.
And it's all, there is no opening.
No.
There is no closure. Oy.
Yeah, I think she was going to do a lot more of the braiding technique across it, and she was advised by Christian and I think by Ekin-Su to sort of take that down.
Yeah.
She made it slightly more simple. This is difficult when you're working with a client and they have more opinions than a model does.
Right.
And she struggled a bit with that. Why? Again, like I said, walking down the runway, why she did not hem the front of that dress.
It was too long.
I mean, it's just crazy. I don't get it. So Ekin-Su, when she walked down the runway, had to hold the skirt up a lot.
Even Heidi noticed it.
Yeah.
And even Heidi said, why didn't she just cut it off?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't get it. But once again, I mean, Ekin-Su, she worked it. She even took that braid that I was like, what is she, Rapunzel? And that looks like, you don't want to tie that around your neck too many times. But yet she played it.
Yeah.
Like, again, Ekin-Su, I think that Elizabeth should send Venmo Ekin-Su some martini money.
Both of them, I think.
Oh yeah. Both.
I think got
both
lucky
Bobby
with this one.
and Elizabeth should send some Venmo Ekin-Su some drinking money.
Okay, so now we're on to Anna and Aaron, and this is the lion, and this was the one in which Stassi was to be the model.
Right.
And she did not end up being their model. So
But then we all of a sudden, the Fashion Daddies got a call, and we have to measure somebody else.
and that was Chloe. And it was great. It worked out perfect.
It did.
Because she was a great model, but they really did have to do an enormous pivot.
Yes.
And
because they already had made the designs using Stassi's measurements, which were a little bit different.
yes, because the fitting didn't happen until late in the day, or I will say into the night. So most of the garment was based off of Stassi's measurements. The thing about it is they equally had a disadvantage. So in the competition head to head, it was equal.
Right.
And Anna really showed her skills.
Yes.
Because
pivoting and altering.
Pants
Oh,
are one of the most difficult things.
when Chloe had her first fitting with Stassi's pants.
Yeah.
Oof. I mean, I remember being backstage going, ay, 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 ay. I think I was just quietly like screaming in Spanish. And, you know, of course, I knew what kind of tricks she could do. And I just hoped that Anna knew as well.
Well, she ended up cutting a whole new pair of pants.
Exactly.
Yeah, she didn't even mess around with the pair that she was originally going to use,
Right.
which was very smart. And
Yeah.
she also was going to put a lot of ruffles. You didn't see it, but there was a lot of discussions. I think you saw the sketch with some ruffles.
Yeah.
A lot of discussion.
Like on top of the whole jacket was going to be covered, right?
Which made sense because she wanted to do a lion's mane.
Yeah.
And I understood where she was going, but it really would have probably been a bit of a mess.
Yes.
Especially she was doing that before she knew she had to pivot to a new model.
Right.
So the fact that, you know, that she would have had added work on top of that would have been horrible. So I think what she did was really great. Again, the pants, very 2000s.
The whole look, the low slung pants. I mean, I think we designed these pants for our Nicolecki 2003 fall collection.
Yes.
I was like, okay, here we are. How many years later?
20.
20 years later. And those are my pants.
Yeah.
They're back.
Yeah, no, it's great. And the separation of the sleeve to the jacket added a nice little touch. And she looked great.
It was cool, modern. This is the Gen Z girl.
Yeah.
This is what the Gen Z girl wears. And so it fit perfectly. I love that the pants, again, were to the floor. And so they were cut just right. They weren't high water. And yeah, they work. They work for 2026, even though the whole look, you could photograph, it could have been from my collection in 2003.
Yeah. And it put her in the top. She almost won.
I know.
Yeah. So that's pretty amazing.
All right.
So then there's Aaron.
Oh.
Yeah. And
I love Aaron.
he's so great. But I think that the fact that he had to pivot to a new model really was what really started to bring him on a downward spiral.
It went, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I mean, he already had pivoted, like, I don't know if it was the last challenge or the challenge before, right?
Yeah,
as well. And so this is kind of a trend here.
Yeah.
But this was just too muchy. It was just too muchy.
Yeah, and what he lost, which I'm not sure where in the whole process it got lost, was his sportswear. His combination of sportswear in a high-end, not evening space, but an elevated designer way.
I was just shocked he didn't go, okay, I'm going to go safari. I'm going to go Le Saharian because he knows those codes.
Yeah.
He was brought up in the design world during those codes of the safari jacket. Like, give me something like that. We talk about Elizabeth, who just sort of like puts fabric on and thinks it's going to make it work. This is what happened here.
Yeah, and I think he was also trying to think what he could do in such a short one-day challenge. And then when he had to pivot, he just sort of just was putting fabric everywhere. And I think the drape of the skirt was one thing, and then it got tucked up, which was, really probably one of the most unfortunate parts because it looked like a struggle. Yeah. So
I mean, at one point I was like, I kind of like the back detail.
Yeah.
Of the jacket. But then, and so I kind of like that. But then, in addition to the whole pickup of the skirt, it's just too much. It's like either one or the other, I think. And then, just again for me, front and center on Chloe in the V-neck in the front, right at the bust, you can see the sort of the alteration that is done right there with the with the dart. I'm like, this is too much. It's gaping. I'm just going to fold up a dart because you never purposely put these darts there and like that. Yeah. So it was like you just see the mistake, and that's just unfortunate. Yeah. I was feeling it. Yeah. As Aaron was going through it. You know? Yeah.
All right. So then the very last team,
Here we go.
or it's not a team, it's a head-to-head, is Jude and B.
Okay.
And they had the Arctic Wolf.
Mm-hmm. They did.
And here their model was who?
Sarah Jane Nader. OMG. I'm going to admit, I didn't know who these people were.
Yeah.
A lot of, obviously I knew VJ and Chloe, but the Hulu Get Real stars, I'm not of the age demographic, but she became my bestie, my best girlfriend. She was so amazing, so funny, so lovely, wonderful. She was great. It's just a little Hottie McCotty, great runway walk.
Yeah, okay. She was amazing. And again, tiny. So
Jude be flirting in his own way.
He has
don't tell Jude's girlfriend. No, I know. I'm pretending that Jude was flirting. I think he was being actually very classy.
Yes.
Because how could you not? If you're a straight guy and of that age and have Sarah Jane Nader in front of you, I mean, you could tell in his face. He was sort of just, the hair was kind of flipping. Like, a
lot of hair flips.
He was giving you shy Jude.
He's always shy.
I know. Well, extra shy. But you could tell he was kind of like, yeah.
Okay, so the look he made was great, and he was the winner.
Yeah.
And he made he pivoted also at the last minute. Now, both of them blamed it on the makeup that got all over their white.
During the first fitting.
And they felt that they had to change everything up. I think this is a little hot take.
Oh, okay.
I think that was a little bit of an excuse that was used to pivot that they were already thinking of pivoting, and they used the makeup to say, oh, now I have to pivot. But I think both of them were going to pivot because the judges cannot see the makeup on the runway. And they also would not have faulted them for seeing her makeup on the white outfit. And most of it was, yes, very much when you saw it in person, tons of makeup on the white looks. And it is heartbreaking. And as a designer, you're like, you don't want that at all. But it was mainly in the interiors, and it would have been okay. So that's my hot take. I think that they
some Costco Neutrogena wipes couldn't clean up.
Yeah, and I think that Jude wanted to go in a slightly different direction, and it worked. So it was a moto jacket, but it was sleeveless. Again, a halter. They all love their halters.
You got to show the midriff.
A lot of halters. A lot of midriffs.
Midriff alert for 2026.
But again, the tailoring, the construction, the way he inset the fur into the jacket, and it was really well done. Fit her, and he kept saying he was worried that he had to, prove his ability to fit properly. He did. It was fit beautifully.
All the panels were cut in a way. They were kind of asymmetrical, they weren't cut on the bias, but they were bias-y, right? But the panels is just curved around the body so perfectly for her, then showing the leg and the midriff. And again, she's so hot. Nobody looked better in white pumps.
Yeah.
Can we just say this? There's a rule, like no white pumps ever. Well, guess what, kiddies? Sarah Jane Nader just proved that rule, that fashion rule, wrong.
Yeah, and I think it was Jude's most modern look. Really, I think he is taking note that he can do his tailoring, but give it in a modern way. I think, as you know, being in that workroom and being around your fellow designers, there's no way to absorb what everybody else
you get
is
influenced
doing, and being around Naeem, being around Chloe and Anna and those designers that have a little more edge to them.
I was just gonna say the edge a little bit, because he's more Savile Row trained.
Yeah,
and I mean that's what he does. to make a living. He works in a Brooklyn custom tailoring shop where they sell these suits that are like $10,000.
Yeah.
Custom suits, not necessarily edgy, not necessarily fashion forward, but a little more on the traditional take. And so, but like you said, he's looking around and he's like, I gotta add my own kind of edge to this if I want to continue on with this competition.
Yeah. All right. So, and he did, and he won.
Yeah.
And his competition was B. And B struggled. The mittens, the snowsuit.
Oh, that's right.
It was a bit of a mess. And this was really the flaw that they pointed out, the bust, and how it just didn't enhance her bust.
It drooped.
And you just saw that right away. The details he put into it were really interesting.
They were interesting. It was all pin tucked, which he did before. Remember the pleather, the other pleather outfit he made, which was fabulous. The tuxedo, the little vest and pants. He kind of did the same kind of treatment. But then he added some padding underneath, and it made her, it squared her. Mm-hmm. It squared. I mean, we're talking again, Sarah J. Nader. Yeah, you gotta Vava. She's already Vava Boom. How can you Vava Boom Sarah J. Nader? B did it.
Yeah, and again, here was a situation where the runway walk, made her look like she was having trouble walking. Yeah. Whereas in Jude's look, she just floated down the runway.
Oh, yeah.
So that also showed the contrast.
The confidence. Yeah, she was more confident, for sure. Again, let's go back to Jude's girlfriend. I hope she asks him to make her this outfit. Yeah. Because this is that outfit. This is what I call the ego boost outfit. Where if you ever feeling down, Daddy David, call Jude. Yeah. And he'll make you a little crop moto jacket. Yeah. Show your midriff and your leg and give you an ego boost.
Okay, so let me ask you, if you were to choose a winner from this episode, who would it be?
Oh, okay. Knowing my aesthetic, knowing my kind of taste, which some other people would say would be lack of, it would be Joseph McCrae.
Joseph McCrae.
It would be him. I would have picked him.
Yeah,
because he's more in. He's again. I'm taking it and being my personal style, and I veer towards the Carolina Herrera, that kind of look. So, and he gives me that.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I think I probably would have put Naeem as my winner.
Oh, okay.
I probably could have been convinced by other judges to switch to Jude because I really did like Jude's. But my initial instinct, if I were choosing by myself, it would have been Naeem.
So you would have given, in your card, you would have given like a 5.
A 5, yes.
5. Yeah. Right. 1 is the lowest.
Yes.
I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would have given a 4.6 for Joseph.
Okay.
And maybe 4.5 for Naeem. Yeah. For that coat.
So.
All right. Well, there you go.
There you go.
This was a great episode. We gave you a lot of behind the scenes information, things you don't see. We're going to rename our podcast the Project Runway, the Outtakes.
Project Runway Outtakes.
Is that good?
Project Runway Uncut.
That's it. Ding, ding, ding. Project Runway Uncut from Nick and David.
Yes.
I like you.
All right. So next week, episode 5. Ooh. We're halfway there.
Oh,
crazy already.
Oh, sad.
All right. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Please leave your comments. Tell us what you thought. Yeah. Be nice. I mean, you don't have to be totally nice, but I mean, understand all the hard work that we put into this.
I know.
And
they'd be blaming us.
Don't blame us.
I'm like, girl.
We're just the fashion guys. The Fashion Daddies. That's it. We're just the Fashion Daddies.
I didn't realize that when you put down consulting producer, they think you got to be blamed for the entire damn show. But that's okay.
Yes, we're here to listen to you in our way. We can't change anything, but we'll listen. All right. And
at least they're talking, and we love the show.
Yes.
And again, we'll try as much as we can for each episode of our podcast to give you some behind the scenes inside dish, something that you might not have seen on the episode, because they only have, what is it, 43 minutes to show? I don't know how long.
Yeah, 44, I think. Something like that.
The stuff that ends up on the cutting floor will end up with us.
Yes. All right. And we can't leave without saying, if you are interested in fashion and want to make all those proper seams and get yourself ready.
A proper princess seam, then get our book, The Basics of Pattern Making for Fashion Design. Or better yet, you can subscribe to nickvarios.com and my fashion school. Show you how to make a basic bodice, pants, and a lot of other stuff.
All our online courses. Yeah. All right. Until next week.
Bye.
Stay fashionable.
And be wild.
The Fashion Daddies is created and hosted by David Paul and Nick Varios. It's produced, edited, sound mixed, and scenic designed by David Paul. I'm just here to entertain.